thank you everybody for joining also from our side. My name is Desiree de Gutes. I'm an integration consultant at SAP and right up to this topic. So most of my time is spent on developing custom integrations for third-party systems. And Muhammad is also a colleague of our team. So Florian, Muhammad and myself were in the same team. And yeah, I would say maybe Muhammad, you can start sharing the slides and then we'll get started without any further ado.
Really
Great. Let's share first. Second. Come also on that side. So, Desiree, you can see the screen.
Yes, but it's not in full picture. Yeah.
Yes. Now should be.
All right. Just skip head directly to the agenda, I think. All right. So we're going to talk about one part of the integration modernization campaign. So specifically the Connect Everything campaign, as you know. And we want to show you exactly what the intention is behind this campaign first. So what does it mean specifically for you? How can you connect with systems that are non-SAP? What's the best way to go forward? And also what resources does SAP provide to you to support you and to make this process as efficient and as easy as possible? We'll then go over to, I think, the most interesting part today, where we will look into the system together to see, for example, how we can work with a third-party adapter, but also looking at how we can navigate the API Business Accelerator Hub to find specific content and to make it a little bit more easier, because there is quite a bit of content, and being able to find the right thing is sometimes more difficult than being able to find anything. Then we also want to talk about any kind of scenarios that you might had difficulties with in the past. And also, I think since we're not quite the large group, we also have some time for a Q&A session at the end. All right, so then let's get started and look at what Connect Everything actually means. So there sometimes seems to be a kind of mismatch between the perception on what the SAP Integration Suite does and what it's for versus what the reality is. So sometimes some of customers and also other interesting parties perceive that the Integration Suite is really built for SAP-centric environments. And of course, it's true that we do offer, for example, quite a lot of standard content in the SAP to SAP world. But the reality is that the Integration Suite is really also built not only to service this particular environment, but to connect also non-SAP systems seamlessly. So whether you have a third-party system connecting to an SAP system, the other way around, or even if you have third-party to third-party, the Integration Suite is really targeted to support any kind of combination of systems that you might have, applications and data sources that you would have within your particular environment. And the idea, of course, of the platform is to really service any kind of hybrid, but also these heterogeneous IT ecosystems that you have. And that also means at the end of the day, of course, that integrating third-party systems, legacy systems, any kind of modern cloud technologies that you have is a big or a big part of being able to do this. And this is exactly what we intend to show that you can do. So one of the things that SAP specifically provides for this is working, for example, with, I think, 2,500 third-party or pre-built adapters that are available that you can use in your integration scenarios. So these make it just more efficient for you to access the data in your system, to be able to send data back and forth. So this could be a Salesforce adapter, it could be a Workday adapter, but many, many more that are available. And also general support for things like event-driven architecture, keeping it open in terms of cloud-native scalability, that kind of thing. And it goes down to the very, I think, basics of keeping open standards. So, for example, support for REST, for OData, for SOAP, any kind of thing that if you don't find any standard content, you're still able to work with the system very easily because you have these standards that you can fall back on with. And that's exactly what we're aiming to show with this campaign. which if you move on to the next slide, we can kind of already see an overview of what we have done. So the idea is to make this, a little bit more hands-on and to not, float in the, I would say, more marketing-y space of saying it's easily done, but to actually give you an idea what it looks like and to have a bit of a more hands-on approach with a look at specific systems and providing some examples of how you would approach the integration for these systems. So on the right side, you should be able to see, the green marked systems that are already available for you. There's always a blog post on each system, as well as for most of them, we have a YouTube video where you can follow along what a specific setup might look like or to deep dive into the scenario. So each system will be a little bit different. Sometimes we showcase what kind of standard content is available, how you can best work with this content. Sometimes it will be custom content that's developed and just showcasing the process of how you would approach this in the integration suite so you can get an idea. And of course, this is a rather new campaign that we started, so there's many more systems to come. So we aim to provide something new every 1 to 2 months about. No hard deadlines here, but that's the kind of time frame that we're looking at. And we're also trying not only to give you the most prevalent systems from our side, but also to hear from you. So if there's any system that you would like to see, any kind of particular scenario integrated or have any kind of particular interest in, that's also something that we would like to know from you, and we can also service that. All right, next slide, I think. So before we jump into the system, this is just a short checklist of what you can think about on how you should approach this and how you can make it as easy as possible to prepare for actually finding the adequate content that you need. So the actual goal here is to really try to figure out what you actually want to do, because there is a lot of content that's available, which can sometimes be overwhelming. So it's quite a simple idea, but it's an idea that I think is very much rooted in practice on trying to determine what you're actually trying to build. So which kind of data objects do you need? How will it look in the future? Will you need to add different data objects? Will they run in one interface? What is the kind of background that you're imagining for it? Or you might have some kind of extenuating circumstances. So you want, for example, particular authentication methods that you need to cover for whatever reason it may be. And having this will give you the basis to actually then find what's available. So checking the standard content is something that usually goes without saying, but is not done enough. So the API Business Accelerator Hub has quite a few options for you to search. There's also different ways to search, and depending on how well you already know the scenario that you're going to build, it might be a different way of searching through the content that's available. This is also something we will see in the system later on. The important thing to take away from here is that in many cases, you do not have to start from scratch. And even though your particular scenario that you're looking at might not match 100%, we will most likely have some kind of fragment that you can reuse. And the idea is, do not get started before you check what's there. And even if you find there's nothing there on the API Business Accelerator Hub, there's also a large community that supports with blog posts. So chances are that somebody has had the same problem as you, and you don't have to figure it out on your own. Once you found what you want, the easiest way to check if it is actually servicing what you're looking at, or you want to change the content or anything, you can just pull it from the Discover tab into your own design tab, and then you can work with the content easily. And I think enough of the forward. Let's look at the interesting part. I would hand over to Mui so you can show the system and what it looks like.
Like, we will show a demo of the system usage, and for that we prepare the Workday integration with S/4HANA Cloud, and we maybe jump in the video and see what is the steps that we have. As Desiree mentioned, we first check on the Business Accelerator Hub, okay, what we can integrate, and go search for the system that we integrate. In our case, the S/4HANA Public Edition with, if we scroll down here, with the Workday. And Workday is like an HR tooling. Like, and we want to integrate here, see the Workday package, integration package that SAP provided, and some different integration flows. You can see here some scenarios like replicate employee from Workday to S/4HANA Cloud, replicate exchange rate, and replicate cost center. So that's SAP provided integration package between S/4HANA Cloud and Workday. And we go with this package replicate employee from Workday to S/4HANA Cloud. So for that, first in the API app, you can also can mention here, click on this integration flow and just can observe the integration flow, how it's work. So for that, the integration flow is loading and we can wait a little bit and check the integration flow, how it's working, what is the process that we need a little bit scale, zoom out, go to the integration flow and then say, okay, what's happened here, what I have to need, what I have to do, and check and analyze the integration flow. And with this integration flow, you have also a documentation of this integration flow, like a guide, okay, how to install, or what's the steps with that, and some pre-requirements and the configuration. We're going travel, so like very easy to understand and very easy to install, and it's very a good accelerator for the scenario. And afterwards, we go now to the system, how it's like look in the integration suite, and for that we have to first find this package that we observe in the accelerator hub. Here, Workday adapter with integration suite. First, before you install the integration package, there was mentioned in the documentation that you have to first install the adapter first. But anyway, if you want directly install the package, the adapter is automatically also installed. But in this step, as a demo step, we also first install the Workday adapter. And here are the process. We first find this adapter. That's the communicating from. That's the main part where we can communicate Workday with Integration Suite. The adapter first, install it, and then we should go to the package that we observe in API Hub. We put it, as Jason mentioned, in our own design studio. So put it from the store, like to our own design environment. As you can see, first, again, the installation step. We have to deploy this first, the integration adapter, as mentioned, in our cloud runtime. And the adapter is deployed. After this step, we go to the package that we have, pull it from the store. And select first the value mapping. Workday integration requires, for example, we have different codes, code list for example, for country, for gender in Workday, and you have different codes in the target system for as for public cloud. So first you have to, in the integration flow, they use value mapping, meaning, okay, we map the values from Workday to the target as for public cloud. First of all, you have to define and deploy the value mapping of your Workday to S/4HANA Cloud logic. So source to target value mapping, and deploy this first. And as the last step, we have to select new integration flow and configure this first. So we select we want to replicate employee from Workday to S/4HANA Cloud, and using the configure parameters, configure all the stuffs here. For example, the Workday address, tenant, the credential that we have that we needed, and then afterwards we can deploy this solution, deploy this integration flow. So really easy to process standard way. And if we have deployed successful, we can check on the monitoring side. Okay, what happens is the integration flow starting. Can we have a message, and then the message here, the initial flow, initial load is processing and completed, and we successful replicated employee from Workday to S/4HANA Cloud, and check here the trace mode, monitoring seed and payload data. Okay, what has happened here with steps, and yeah, can analyze. Okay, if we have successful replicate the messages to the target system. Yeah, that's it from the demo side. That was the steps. No, select it on API, have the package, get it from the discover, and then install the needed steps. So moving to the next page. So, okay, looking forward to connect everything. What we have done, maybe I have laser pointer also here. Started with Salesforce, and we started with Workday integration, and we have also a video on that. And then we in Q2 we have a Kafka and a Coupa integration that we have published on the Connect Everything campaign. And for Coupa we have also a good video of that integration part. Very interesting was the Confinity X integration. There we have two blog posts for part 1, part 2, because it's a huge integration blog post, and a little bit more tricky, more difficult to integrate, and the steps were more difficult as different integrations. Therefore, we have 2 blog posts. And what we want to do next, like in the pipeline, is the ServiceNow integration. For example, we want to publish on ServiceNow about with event integration, like sub adapter, that we have maybe the Salesforce publish an event like a ticket, for example, and we have create the ticket in ServiceNow. That would be a next scenario that want to show. And also the Snowflake integration, there one also in process. There's already the blog post there, but the video will coming soon in the next weeks. And I think a good point is here the OpenAI adapter that was released, I think 2 weeks ago. And here we want to see, okay, how we can integrate with OpenAI, and what kind of AI scenarios can we maybe integrate, and let's see what interesting scenarios we have. And I hope it will be a good point to integrate the OpenAI, the AI adapter here. And of course, many in the pipeline, like PayPal, Jira, Microsoft Graph, SharePoint integration will be also maybe there. And yeah, let's see what's can be changed, might change, but let's see what's happened end of year. And we also looking forward, if you have some content that you can challenge us with integration, because many things SAP Integration Suite is just to SAP integration, but we want to prove that SAP Integration Suite is just really can connect everything, integrate everything. You can say, hey, we have a system here, we have a non-SAP system, want to connect with an SAP system, just mail us, and then we can check and see, okay, how we can take this as in this campaign, and how we can publish your scenario and what you bring, your own SAP system, active participation in the Connect Everything campaign with video and blog as outcome, enthusiasm of exploring new possibilities. And what you get, of course, you get a connected solution and a little visibility and insight and expert know-how about SAP Integration Suite. And you can mail us with the integration modernization at SAP.com email address if you want to challenge us, if you have a good scenario for the integration. And that's it